Hi, Doctrine students. So we have the next phase of our research paper coming up. Now that the outlines are done, you will see on Canvas this rough draft. The rough draft is not going to be a full rough draft. In other words, it's not going to be like your entire paper written that still just needs, general editing or anything like that. It's just going to be a partial rough draft. So let me tell you what I mean. The first thing I need to see in your rough draft is the introduction paragraph. The introduction paragraph fully written out, and you have to have three things in the intro. And those three things are why your topic matters, why anyone should care, why did you personally choose it, what interested you enough about this topic to decide to write on it, and then finally, what is your thesis statement? Your thesis statement should go right at the end of your of your intro paragraph. And your thesis statement, as we've already discussed, should very clearly lay out what I expect to read in the remainder of your paper, right? If you argue that according to scripture, marriage A, B, C, and D, then I should see you argue that marriage A, marriage B, marriage C, and marriage D in your paper. And when you get to those main point paragraphs, I should see the language you used in your thesis will be the language in the topic sentence of that main point paragraph when you're arguing those main points. All right, so then I just need your first main body paragraphs. So if you argued, for example, according to scripture, marriage is A, B, C, and D, I just need A written for this partial rough draft. I don't need B, C, or D. I just want to see that you know how to use the exact language you used in your thesis as a topic sentence to start that paragraph, and then you get that paragraph going with the Bible passages and whatever theological research you may have used to argue that point. So I'll need that first main point paragraph, which might be one, it might be two paragraphs. It depends on how much space you need to fully argue that point. It's probably not going to be 3 paragraphs. This is a short paper. And then after that, I just need your works cited page. Your works cited page should be properly formatted, probably following MLA style, since that is what you guys know. But if you want, you could follow something called Chicago style, which sometimes the histories or theology will use. So here's an example of an MLA works cited, right? You just have works cited in the normal font you would use right at the top. You don't need to make it bold or italics or in quotes or anything like that. Then everything should be double spaced. It doesn't look double spaced in this example, but on your works cited page, it will be double spaced. And then the very first entry that you put will just be all the way flush left in the margin. You have the author's name, last comma first period. You have the title of the thing you read in quotations, if it's an article, in italics, if it's a book, in quotations, if it's an essay or article written within a larger volume or book, which you would then put in italics. And then you just have the publication information. In this case, this one came from a newspaper, right? So it just says the New York Times and what the date was for that. In this case, for example, this one must have come from an academic journal, right? So it has the name of the article and then the the city and then the publication date. But on the left here of this al.purdue website, it gives you how to format all kinds of things in MLA, books, periodicals, electronic sources, other common sources. And then this is what the general format will look like. You only need like 2 to 3 sources in your works cited, so yours won't be nearly as long as this example, but you should have 2 to 3 sources that look like this format. The first line is flush left. When that entry goes onto the second line, it'll be indented about half an inch. And any further lines would also be indented half an inch. Probably it's not going to go to a third line. Some of them will barely make a second line. If it was an electronic source, right, like you found it on the World Wide Web, the internet, then you will have the hyperlink, and then right after the hyperlink, you'll have a period, and then you'll have the date you accessed that hyperlink, right? When did you go to that site and get that information? Just put that date. If you can't remember what day it was, then just put today's date, the day you're making the works cited page, and that's completely fine too. All right, I think that's it. This will be worth 20 points, the rough draft. I'll grade it based on this rubric, 5 points for the intro paragraph, 10 points for the main body paragraph or paragraphs, and then 5 points for the works cited. Assuming you do everything as I asked, you'll get a full 20 points for this assignment. And that's it. All right, thank you guys. If you have any questions, make sure to email me.